What's really deep? What he done? Dada, aka Chef. I'm here with Coach David, who I'm sure had the best day ever at work because he's got the greatest employees ever assembled. I heard they
Oh yeah,
called them the Avengers of Guards.
yeah. The special ed Avengers. Yeah, if they actually show up to work. Three guys decided that they didn't want to work today, so I had three call outs. I had to do a bunch of other things. We managed, but it was chaos, bro. Straight chaos.
That's crazy. So I know the last time. Well, we jumped on here. Obviously, this will be for next week. Um, so we've already talked the championship belts. We talked about six major league hockey fights. Um, where I sat here, I was like, you know what? We're gonna talk this, but I think the best way to generate more attention if you're coming into and I don't know when exactly. I've reached out. There's not a set date yet, but let's
Right.
say if the company's sitting there saying, "All right, well, in 2026, we're going to come out. Maybe your first show is in February, right?" I think through January they should do a draft, and like WWE, who it's very cinematic. It's cool for what it is, but you have a guy do a wrestling match, and then whoever wins SmackDown or Raw, the Titantron goes, and then they get a random person, which is pretty cool. The way Major League Wrestling (MLW) does it is they actually do like a real draft. So what they'll do is they'll put up a picture, like a graphic, and they'll say, Coach David, he's joining, and you get like, it's a little bit of information, and that's it. But
A
in
little
wrestling,
bio,
we've
right?
never seen that kind of sports kind of thing, right? Like, where I think if they do it right, you could post a graphic of, it doesn't matter whoever your first pick is, and put a little highlight video of the guy playing hockey or training, whatever. So we get to know these brothers because MLW does the guys they're bringing in are independent wrestlers. So a lot of people might not know them.
Right. Yeah.
So we're getting an introductory. Yep. You could drag that out up until you start promoting your show, right? So I'm going to play a video of the idea that I had, very limited. I did it real quick today. Um, and I always got to plug Mr. Grey Cloud's music. I'm going to play this video. This is
Cause the China play the blues before the slaughter. You better fire up the MPs and MIDI controllers. Set the standard for the slums. Red rum, your eardrum. This Puerto Rican top ain't a warrior. You wanna just duck when my spears come. See loose slips, sink ships, Titanic ice and shit. I'm chopping heads off, send the footers the kicks. The circle, you're set. My niggas green berets. The niggas circle so late. Your niggas been naive, bitch. I'm the
so I sat back and was like, what would be a dope monthly sit there and get guys out and get more content, right? So if say, and I don't want to say anyone specific, but I'm going to say like a Catlin Big Snake is a free agent, and the first person that comes off is Catlin Big Snake, but I don't want to just like that because remember I had said they said something about rep your team. So I'm gonna use
Right.
a faction based. So whatever the first faction is, let's say NWO. So you have four guys. Let's just say right now, if you actually put four people on four teams, 4, 8, 12, 4, 8, 12, 16. So 16 fighters, and you have four. You sit back, you go, all right, first pick, NWO, Catlin Big Snake, right? And you're like, oh shit. Now I know what the name of this group is. I know who the draft pick is. Now I get a little more interested because there's something behind it. Are you feeling what I'm saying right now?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, because you and then you put like a little small bio to build it up and stuff like that, and
Yep.
then everybody gets an idea of who's who on what team and stuff like that. Yeah, like forming your own little factions is what you're trying to say in a sense like that. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I mean, obviously, they're gonna know a lot more about all these guys they're bringing in since he has a lot of
Yeah.
behind the scenes, hands-on knowledge with a lot of these people. So he'll be I guess, more in depth on where, because the question will be is how and who goes where. Like,
Yep.
how are they going to set that? Like, who gets to pick? How does he want to set that up? And then obviously from there, once you figure out how you want to set that up, then obviously it's just a random draft of, okay, everyone's like, well, I know this guy, I know who that is, and who that is. I want him, I want him. So are they going to do it where we, the fan, so to speak, can have a look at who's in this draft before they're actually drafted, or do we only get to see them when they're drafted? Because I think it would be pretty cool if they all had like a little small bio set up, and they're like, well, this guy, and like you said, nothing crazy, nothing big, but like a little bio set up, so like as they're picking people off the board, we're a little familiar then with some of it because we see a little bit of the bio, maybe a little quick video, like you said. I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe.
Hey, see, I think that I like your idea better because I was kind of going off the MLW structure of we're going to show you who this is going forward, right? Where you're
Right.
taking you're taking the sports side of it, and I mean it's like, all right, so you know me, I'm big into the NFL draft. It's one of my favorite days of the year.
Right.
I do my homework. I research everybody. I love the
Exactly.
NFL draft. So I think that'd be so dope. Like you said, if we get a handful of names, and I mean, listen, there's Google search for a reason, right? Like,
That too,
and
exactly.
we can find out. You can go on Elite Prospects, see where these guys play. We could do our own little homework on guys. But if we got a quick little video, we go, oh man, like this is pretty dope. And then going into the draft, we're now seeing these repu teams. Let's have the teams. However they do it, because like I said, he's a fight promoter. He knows how to do all this stuff.
Right. Yeah, he'll have that squared away. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it'd be pretty dope because at that point, logos mean everything, right? Like if you got a dope logo, don't care what the name is, right? Because I'm gonna sit back and I'm like, this shit is awesome, right? Like if you think like back in the days, we're from the era where when the San Jose Sharks came out, it was the number one selling jersey because it was so, no one had nothing like that.
Right.
The Mighty Ducks, when they came out, everybody went crazy for the Mighty Ducks. Certain logos go crazy. The Oakland Raiders to this day, the Las Vegas Raiders,
Right now.
they're always the top selling jersey because, right? Like it sells
Silver and
itself.
black.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, you know what? The Reputeam thing, the way I know how to present it's kind of like when we talk factions, like we were wrestling. If I say the name Four Horsemen, whoever liked wrestling,
Right.
know the Four Horsemen. And I'm not talking about WCW. I'm talking NWA.
No.
Like where
exactly.
when Arn Anderson and Ric Flair and them boys really did their thing.
Exactly.
If I say DX, Demolition, because they were a tag team, but then they got crushed, right?
Yep.
Third guy makes a faction.
Legion of Doom.
You know what I mean? There were certain names that are synonymous with the industry where we haven't seen NWO, and they bring in and WWE trash, but what that did,
they did it too much. They started adding too many people. That's what killed that.
And it was, man, that was live for us. We watched that live.
I know,
right?
Yeah, because then it went Wolfpack, and it was pretty wild back then. But like I said, they started putting everybody into it then, and then it was like there was no one for them to fight. So that's why it got kind of stupid and watered down.
Exactly.
That's what killed it. Like when they were in WCW, they should have hit it where they spun it, where they went off against the Horsemen or something like that. That would have been sick. And then that would have been. But again,
they did too much. Everybody was in it, kind of came in, it flatlined everything. It was like, the last great hero is now cited. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think this is where the Reputeam comes in because, like I said, nobody's doing it right now. Obviously, there's Ice Wars, and that's a solo thing. There's no championships. It's kind of just, brothers, and now the sisters is fighting. But when we talk team, this is where I sat back and I was like, you know what? Whoever has the top pick has the most pressure, right? Like, because that top pick, whoever is one is the guy, right?
You got to hit on it. Yep.
Has to win, and this isn't wrestling. This is real fights. So if the number one
Right.
pick guy, everyone's got a bullseye on his back, right? Oh, they thought you were the number one pick. I'm gonna show them. And
Right.
that team being built around numero uno, it's a lot of pressure, right? Like that's why
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, when we talk this shit, I know we gonna talk it on a crazy level.
Yeah, no, because when you're the guy, that's it. You're basically setting the standard. Everybody wants to be there or better.
Yep.
So, and everyone's always going to be gunning for number one. You always want to take down number one because you want to be the one. So
Exactly.
yeah, whoever gets picked first, you got an X on your back. You're a marked man or woman, depending, because you never know. Who knows what they're gonna, that's possible too. So you never know. So whoever gets that, it's got a lot of pressure. And then not that they're really deciding on who they pick for their team, but however that draft plays out, you're the leader of that team because you were the first pick guy. So now you have to be. So that actually plays out for each team that gets, because each team, when they make their first pick, basically they're saying, well, this is my guy or girl, and they're the one that's supposed to build and lead and do all that. So it's going to be fun and interesting depending on how he wants to play it out and what he wants to do. Like you said, he probably has an idea already because he's been behind in the business and stuff long enough to know. So, and that's good because it helps him make these easier decisions. Whereas a fan, we sit there, we could throw out a lot of these ideas and stuff like that, but he knows the behind the scenes stuff too, where sometimes you got to be careful with what names you're trying to use because there's copyright and stuff and all that nonsense behind it. So you got to be careful on how you want to market it. I just think the biggest thing for them and just in general is you want to find a way to bring the fans in. You want to draw people in. So you got to find not a gimmick per se, but you got to find something that you're going to be able to hook, line, sinker and pull people in. Then from there, you got to be able to market it because that's where the real money comes in. Is once you start sinking the fans, you want to market it to make the money. So but starting it with a draft, and like I said, if they could do a little bio thing, that'd be great. But if not, I'm sure he's got something in mind on how he wants to do it. But it'll be interesting because, like you said, whoever picks first, no, I'm sorry, whoever gets picked first from each team is going to be the one that's got a bullseye on their back because they're going to be expected to be that leader to build that team. And then from there on, you see what happens.
No, and I think that's where a lot of this is going to come into play because, like when Team Canada went against Team USA,
that was
they
fun.
actually made their own like group chat, right? So they were given like dieting tips and training tips and what they're working on, so they can all best each other. As soon as whoever it is the number one pick for each team. Now we're not talking just the first pick. If there's 4 teams, and there might be more, I don't know if it's 12 and there's 3 in each. I don't know.
However he does it.
However you do it, that first pick for that team is the official leader for the team. That means you're going to go as well as your captain. And not for nothing, all these guys or girl is they're going to have to sit there and get their team in check because this is no longer when it says rep your team. That means wins and losses actually mean more now than anything else.
Yeah. Because that's going to be like I'm sure he's going to have like a point system where it all adds up and everything. And that's what's going to make it fun and even more interesting and cool. Because like you said, each one of these fights, not only do they matter just but they're going to be a point system. So you can lose a fight, but still maybe gain a point on that. But then obviously if you win, you get more. If there's a draw or a tie, you get. So if he could systematically build that out, then it's a matter. Obviously, you always want to win, but even if you lose a fight or two, you can still make points. So it'd be interesting to see how he wants to do that. If he wants to implement something like that, it depends. But you figure if you're going to go with a bunch of teams, it will make a little bit of sense to have some sort of point system where you can earn, gain, and even if you're tied, you get a point, even if it's a half, whatever it is. And then at the end, you just add it up, and whoever has the most points at the end, well, that's the victor of that, and then so forth and so forth.
Yeah, and obviously, you'll have your single stuff where rankings, who's beating who's climbing up boards.
Right.
But I think that there's got at the end of the year or something that is like a playoff system, right? Like, yeah, there could be individual championship belts, but however many teams advance to the playoffs, and at that point, it's no longer one match, right? Like it's who wins the I don't know, it like obviously like a Stanley Cup kind of thing, right? But at the
Yeah,
end of
or
the
even like
year,
an
the
Olympic
best
type
team
thing.
wins. There you go, exactly.
So it'd be interesting to see. Like I said, there's so many different ways he can go with it. It's just a matter of what he wants to do, what his plan is, how he wants to market it, and then what his like I said, again, it's not a gimmick, but what is his catch to get the people to come in to buy into what he's doing? Why do people want to watch what he's showing? That's what he's
Yep.
got to make out to the people. This is why you should come watch me. This is what because I got this, we got this, we do this, this is that, this, and the more you can intrigue people, the more interest you're going to draw. And then from there, you just start marketing, even the players themselves, if they can find a way to do a little side, promo or something like that to bring some more stuff in, the more they can do that, that's what because again, I understand it's not wrestling and we don't want to make it gimmick wise, but you got to have a little something just to throw people in because you want to make people curious. Why,
Exactly.
what, this, that, not to sit there and watch bing, bing, bing. Yeah, people love the fighting, it's exciting, but you got to have a little bit more to market to keep it sustained. At least that's my opinion. I don't know. Obviously,
Nope.
he's done this for a living, so he's a lot more knowledgeable, but that's what I'm thinking.
The one thing I could say is when I first jumped into wanting to talk hockey fighting, right? Um, his thing was guys need to promote more, and he was big on to if people reach out to you, do every podcast you can to not only help the product grow, but to help yourself grow and grow your own brand, right?
Right.
But the thing is too, and I agree with you. I know we don't want to talk gimmicks and nothing like that, and I know that their culture is let the game do the talking for you and all that other stuff. But this isn't just hockey. This is so the let the game do the talking for you. That works playing hockey. It's not going to work in a fight because, yeah, granted, a lot of people don't like the arrogant guy. We have said this who talks shit, right? But you always need a good guy. You always need a bad guy.
Yep.
It's just how life works. If you take all the villains away from Batman, you think if you take all the villains away from Superman, what is he doing? Right?
Right. Exactly.
He's writing stories. You know what I mean? Like, so if we need that, and the more guys sit there and develop themselves and girls, and some of them take the lead as, listen, I'm really not as nice as you. I'm gonna be the bad one, and that's the way it is. You got to do it. I want to see team entrances come in. There's got to be a style to it that kind of feels wrestling, right? Because if you have people coming out, I'm not saying it's got to be super smoked and everything like that, but the audio's got to be clear, which we've heard issues in the other one. You don't really hear the music like that. You want to hear it perfect. Come out, do their thing. I don't really care if it's on, right? To me, doesn't make any difference because the first three that they did together were fire, right? They're some of the best fights you've seen.
Yeah.
And then the next three they were good, but whatever. Is everything. And like I said, you gotta get these people to do their have them take pictures wearing their team thing because it's not just at the event. Home and you're working out and you want to put it on your Instagram or Facebook, you know what I mean? And that also sells merch because if we're a fan of something, people go, oh man, look at that. It looks fire. Like I want to work out. So a lot of that goes into play. I just think that it will be hard to try to get a lot of these guys who you let the game do the talking for you. But if you got to get yourself over, like when you sports, what do we like Tyson for? Not just knocking people out, the crazy shit he said, right? Like all these guys, they're tough guys. I mean, look at from Ali kind of invented that, right? I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. You know what I mean? Like it won with that swagger, and then everybody tried to carry on to it. Even your guys like Tyson Fury, who isn't really a big talker, he still don't let nobody talk to him crazy.
Yeah,
exactly. And if they start talking crazy, he's like, we can bang here, you know. Like, so he'll respond to it. Have that because if me and you are going to get into a fight, you know, I can't wait to fight David, and I can't wait to fight Chef. You know, we're both great guys. And what? Who cares, right? Like, I don't for a fight.
Right, exactly. You got to have some little backline, storyline, something, a little, like I said, a little something going into it. And like you said, you got to have a good guy, you got to have a bad guy. That's it. Just like you have good teams, you're gonna have to have bad teams, or even within your team, you're gonna have one. You have to have that one person that's gonna be like that heel, that faction, whatever. You need to draw attention. Like I said, the main thing to maintain anything is to hook, line, sinker, get the fans to come, make them want to watch what you're selling. Because if you're not getting the fans, it's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So you have to draw attention. Because, you know, when it first started, was pretty high, but now it's kind of flatlined a little bit with the attendance and stuff. So, and I mean, it's tough, but you got to find a way. That's why I'm saying you can come out in the beginning, boom, everyone wants to watch that first one show, two show, whatever. But how are you going to maintain it to keep it going to interest the people that want to make them keep coming back to watch your show? That's what it comes down to. Because like I said, fighting, yeah, everyone's gonna love to watch that, but you got to find a way to entertain it and then add more to that. Because unless you're gonna have like great fight, and even if you have a couple great fighters, how long are you gonna be able to maintain that before just whatever, it's boring now, same guys winning all the time, blah blah blah.
And it's same guys are dominating, but like you got to have it where we get different people from different events, right? Like not every team has to fight. That's impossible. So
right
on one card, you can have two teams go at it. That's 6 fights off the rip. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, or even 8, because if we said 4 and 4, who knows, right? Regardless of what, you can have a bunch of fights. The teams matter. The solo individuals matter. The way they sit there and they interact with each other and hype up the crowd. Because let me tell you something. I keep saying this. I don't care how great your fight is. If you're boring, I can't fuck with you, right? Because all right, like let's just say a Conor McGregor who's still kind of current, right? Yeah, he's hasn't fought in a few years, but and it's the same with Floyd Mayweather. You either wanted to see Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor kick someone's ass, or you wanted to see them get their ass whooped.
Yeah,
right?
Well, especially Mayweather. Everyone wanted to see him lose, but he was boring. But
he is. He's a point fighter, right? He's a points fighter.
That's the thing, and he's smart. He knows how to play it.
You know, and his defense is incredible, right? Yeah, like there's a lot that goes into it that people, and like me, I've always wanted to see Floyd lose. I want to see him lose against Zab. I want to see him lose against Ricky Hatton. God bless the dead. Anyone that ever fought pretty much Floyd, I wanted to see him lose because I think he's a boring fighter. And you know what that did? It made me want to watch, right? And then when he wins, I'm like, man, this is some bullshit. Now I got to hear him talk. And then he talks shit and the whole money team and this, that. And he's throwing money around. And you're like, man, I can't stand this guy. And what did he do? He sold you to watch the next fight.
Yep. Because that's what I'm saying. He knew how to market himself. Absolutely. You know, love him or hate him, the man knows how to make his money.
Absolutely. And that's what I think Major League Hockey Fights has to do. And AJ being a guy who runs a boxing promotion, I think there's a lot market how to try to get guys over. I know he's definitely going to use the social media aspect of it. So you're like,
yeah, you might as well, because that's big today.
Yeah, definitely. You know, rock out with it, get guys out there. But in-house, I would do meet and greets. You know what I mean? Like, and listen, I know he's the GM of Danbury Hat Tricks, which I said Thrashers last time. My bad. But get some of those guys. You know, like bring them in as like to bring more fans in. You know, then we'll have some of the at the local guys because listen, everybody likes the local teams, right? So you bring the fan base in. Oh, Tricks guys there, and they'll be banging on the glass for fights. Every hockey guy likes hockey fights. So you're like, oh, we get some hockey fighters here, some of this and some of that. You know, use your shit to your advantage. But these guys, you got to be able to let them know, guys and girls, y'all got to take the role of understanding where you fit in to get yourself over. Leave, it's fight and entertain. Because the more you entertain, more money too. Because people start following you on your social medias. All of a sudden, your numbers are going up. People want to give you sponsorships and all that.
Yep.
So there's a lot that goes into it if you develop yourself and market yourself. But they got to be into it, and I know he could pull that out of them.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be live or die by. They're going to have to either find a way to draw the interest and make people want to keep coming back to watch it. Because in the beginning, it'll shut off, but how do you maintain that and then go up with it? That's going to be where the challenge is. That's for everybody. That when you're starting something, you got to find a way to hook, line, sinker the crowd. How you get the audience, the fans, the people to buy in, whether it's through the social media, whether it's through the live events. But you're gonna have to find a way to bring people in to make the money so that you can keep your league going, and then building it from there.
See, what I think the favor is they're not like the other group and trying to go. They started off as a hockey fighting thing, and they transitioned into it's the bare knuckle fighting on ice, right? So all you did was attach yourself with the BC stuff, and then all the real like, well, this ain't a hockey fight, right? It's just bare knuckle on ice. There's nothing hockey about it. Having teams, having the draft, all the sports element you got to keep, because the real hockey fans, they'll be interested on the element of hockey still there, right? You're protecting your fighters. The fights will be better because, like we've seen with Barry and Rulli, that was a fucking banger of a fight, and it's over because she gashed her real quick. And you're like, well, we out on that fight where if they still had the MMA gloves,
yeah, that would have been something. That would have been crazy.
Oh, man, can you imagine that fight going 2 or 3 rounds with the way those girls were going?
I know. That first round was crazy. It's just unfortunate. Split open. Listen, once you get busted open, it's tough because the blood, it's gushing. It makes it a lot harder to fight, man.
And that's where I was like, and trust me, I didn't know what to expect from the Guardian helmets they wear. I like them. I was like, all right, they're cool. They didn't look too bad. Once again, a lot of fights were shortened because people got cut. So, listen, I'm watching this for fighting. If I see a 13-second fight, I'm like, all right, this was cool.
Yeah.
But
it's really not much because like I said, you got to have it where it can be maintained, because when first off, you could also break your hand if you don't hit somebody the right way when you're doing bare knuckles. So you got to be careful with that too. So that's another element, because you hit somebody, they put the head down, you could break your knuckle right there. And then that's going to be super painful, and you ain't fighting. I mean, you might try it, but your hand's going to swell up and you're going to be out. So it's tough.
You know what the problem is, bro? That I think what the other company has, these guys that they're professional fighters, right? These guys all have 9-to-5s. If you're a professional fighter, this is what you do for a living. You don't have a job on the side. You train, you diet, and you're ready for your next fight.
Correct.
These guys are regular workers. They're all regular workers. So if I bust my shit up after that, right? Like, this is where that shit didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, you got to protect. Listen, how much could they really be making per fight, right? Yet you're not making enough to live off of for a month, right?
No.
So
at least not now, anyway, because you're not big enough to be doing that.
Exactly, because this is it still feels on an independent level where the biggest mistake that the other one did was they took it out of Canada. Now, granted, it did well in Michigan. The first one did well, right? A bunch of the locals, they got their fan base in, cool. But when you went back, what they did was smart, is you had guys like Big Snake, Wolftail. You had it on the reserves. So all of their people were like, our people fighting, you know how that works. We're pulling up. You had a lot of the same culture coming to watch these. Have the local guys. When you came to Florida, all you had was, I can't remember the guy's name. And then Arcamone, which Arcamone had a bunch of his people out there. And salute, but the place was dead. It was empty.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have even said too. That was the dumbest thing you could have done. Somebody filled his head up with bullshit, and you went from trying to fill up 800 to 1,000 to 20-something thousand. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he wasn't big enough yet to try to do that. I mean, I get the
You can't.
ambition. The goal should be to want to get to that level to do it, but you got to build it up because you're not gonna listen. You have to be doing it to maintain the fan base to get people to want to actually go out there, and then you have to find it a marketing price that's going to be reasonable for people to want to go see it. Because if you're going to charge too much, people ain't coming out there,
No,
or at
oh,
least live.
tickets were at. It's cheaper to go to a professional hockey game. I'm talking Tampa, Florida Panthers. It's cheaper to bring your family
Right.
to that than to that event. That to me was
That's
mind
why.
blowing.
Yeah, that's another thing. You can't. You gotta. I understand you want to make money, but you also got to make it reasonable for the fan.
Yep.
Because a lot of that's how what you see in sports today now. Like a lot of these games with baseball, football, basketball, it's all becoming so expensive and ridiculous. It's more corporate. It's not for the people. It's more for these
Yep.
corporate companies that are buying all this stuff. And okay, if that's how you want to go that way, that's fine. But then you better have some corporate sponsors up there
Yep.
who are going to buy those seats to give you that money. But if you ain't got that, then you need to facilitate to the average fan, to the person. Listen, you give cheaper tickets, I guarantee you'll sell more and make. You may not make a huge profit, but you'll make something instead of making nothing. You got to find that happy medium.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Because until your product is up
Well,
there and is well known, you're gonna have to eat. Listen, you probably even lose a little to start,
yep.
but then you start doing it right, you start to gain. Because when you start in the beginning, you're not going to make much. You're either going to break even or you're going to be right there at the cusp.
Exactly.
So until you can draw people in and get them interested, then you can start building. But then your goal should be looking to fill out a big arena like that. But you also have to understand until you can get the product where it's making money, you shouldn't go for that big venue. You
Exactly.
know, work your way up to it. You don't have to go right away. Sometimes people think, "Oh, I got to go right away." Nah, build it up. Take your time.
No.
Draw the interest. Once you get the people, that's it. And like I said, it's all about entertaining and selling them. You get them sold on that, they'll follow you. But if they find out it's kind of the same thing, or it's kind of starts to get boring, people are going to turn channel, go next. That's it.
See,
That's just
and
how it
that's
is. Even in sports now.
see exactly. Like if you look with the NBA, they got sponsors on their jerseys. Why? Because there were fans not attending, so
Yep.
you'll
Yeah.
see, waste management on someone's jersey or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing is too, like, and I agree with you 100%. You got it. It's one of the things that when I first started watching MLW, it was so different because a lot more Hispanic and black and white wrestlers because most of the guys we were growing up they're white. Even though I love Coco Beware,
Yeah.
Junkyard
Dog,
Dog,
yeah.
when you Hulk Hogan, they were the bigs, right? And MLW wasn't afraid to what was popping in this country. So they were not afraid to push the envelope of different. Oh, this is pretty cool. They did the draft. I'm like, oh snap, it's like a draft, right? For me. So they did it and they find ways to keep you engaged. Now they do it, COVID kind of really hurt their shit for a while.
Yeah. Right.
And now they're leaning toward luchador stuff right now because they know it's marketable, right? So they do CMLL. I'm saying with these guys, Major League Hockey fights, use your locals. And if anyone knows the locals, it's the guy who is a GM of a freaking professional hockey team. If you're telling me he don't know the lay of the land for extended areas because he's got to play these guys, right? So he knows these little markets to tap into. Hockey markets, go in, get your locals, build product, because if you have a great product, we're going to engage, right? I want to see people, give us the draft, give us the hockey element, and there's nothing we won't sit back and go, oh man, this is fire, right? Because you're giving us the sport element, and especially for me and you who grew up loving sports, or because it feels like a sport, right? So I think he's the perfect guy. I think that I can't wait for him to come out and actually say some of his idea, but the problem is you don't want to feed them any information.
Absolutely. You don't want to show your cards because then someone steals your ideas.
Exactly. So he's doing it smart. He'll lead up. We'll find out information when it happens. But I mean, he's got a lot working for him in the fact, like I said, he's played hockey professionally, right? He's the GM. He's promoted fights before because he has his own boxing company. So there's a lot going on. And like I said, he's a big wrestling fan as well. And he's out of Raw. And I think it was with FBI of all people. I think he was with remember the Italian and oh my
yeah,
God.
those guys.
I think it was with him if I remember it right. And I was like, yo, how the hell did he make that episode? Not as like he's in the crowd and you see him.
Right.
Actually at the venue and being a part of the show. So he knows as being a GM and a player, all these things and owning a fight company, all do what you do best. You know what I mean? Like, well, no,
yeah, it definitely helps.
Huh?
I said that definitely helps. The more hats you can wear, the more it helps.
I don't know how, even without McBain's, we go for 36 minutes. I was like, oh, probably 15, 20 minutes. But this is what we do, man. We talk our shit. We have a lot of fun. It'll be Monday, whatever next Monday is. All right, today's the 3rd, but I don't know what next Monday. Oh, bro, before I get you.
It'll be the 10th.
The 10th.
It'll be the 10th.
Okay, so I'm going to let you go with a story that happened to me on Saturday or Sunday. I think it was yesterday. So the clock goes back, right? I get up at some point in the morning. I get up at some point in the morning, move. And my microwave says 6, right? So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, why the hell is it so dark out here?
Mm-hmm.
So I wait a little bit, and I'm like, fuck it. I'm going for my walk. The walk you were doing me, that long-ass walk.
Right, yeah.
Oh, it's black out here, right? So I'm walking. It's freezing, though. It's like 40 something degrees. I got the hood up, right? The sun is coming up a little. I'm like, yo, I don't know why it's so dark, but where's everybody at, right? Like people. So I'm walking back. I see the lady down the block that her thing was always open when we walked by.
Yeah.
I'm like, good morning. She's like, man, you up early, and I'm like, yeah, it's crazy. She goes, they set the clocks back, and I'm like, oh damn, it's like 5 in the morning. I'm walking outside for no reason.
That's hilarious. That's
Bro,
too funny.
I'm like, holy shit. But you said it was an hour walk. It's literally an hour and 2 minutes. I checked my phone.
That's good. Like, I knew because I told you we did. It took a while, man.
So I'm like, holy shit. I got to tell Coach David, for no fucking reason, walking like an idiot. Yo, if I'm a cop, I'm pulling me over. You know what I'm saying? I'm literally looking at what you're seeing at 5 in the morning. Like, are you crazy?
That's fun. Especially you must have been freezing for real because I know I didn't realize, but like you said, by you, it gets cold.
Bro, and the fucked up part is, so her brother tells Liz he's driving to Orlando. Now, this is like Saturday, right? So we're like, all right, cool. We jump in the car, freezing here. I'm like, yo, I take my hoodie off. I only got my shirt on. It's hot as shit. I'm like, how's
that's
it
great.
freaking right? So and hood goes back on. I'm like, yo, this is OD right now. Like, I live in Eureka, bro. Damn reason. But I was like, yo, I got to tell you, I'm out there walking in pitch black like it's cool. And I'm like,
that's
damn,
hilarious.
I would have arrested myself. I'm just letting you know. Coach David, myself, MLHF Draft. We threw our 2 pennies. Video in there, played some Mr. Grey Cloud. I even had my boy Muffins Martinez from Urban Wrestling Network in there, just because why not? So listen, like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. For myself, this man, we out of here. Deuces.